Aries, a useful opening does not flatter you. It puts you in front of a choice. You have two exits in front of you. One softens the moment. The other finally gives shape to the knot. Air emphasis makes the identity-body presence axis sharper when you stop treating it like a detail. This is a threshold that does not put on a show. You notice it because it asks for attention before it gives you comfort. The real opening does not perform. You recognize the signal inside a practical signal you should not put off while it is still small. The stakes are not waking up tomorrow with the feeling that you saw the right point and arrived too late. For Aries, winning does not mean moving first. It means not letting impulse buy you off. If that practical signal stays only intuition, the day keeps the opening but loses your presence. Move. Treat the opening like something alive. Make room for it now. Not just in theory. Save this if your real risk today is seeing the opening and not using it. Taurus. When a professional choice that asks for a cut comes back around, the message is clear. Enough theory, now you need real friction. The practical question is blunt but useful. What does a professional choice that asks for a cut prove when you stop filling it with words? With Pluto pressing, the career role public direction axis shows where unspoken power is already choosing for you. It is a short scene, with no poetry. One reply, one choice, one cut, and the block loses its aura. Today's turn does not need noise. That gesture wants a precise move, not another analysis. For Taurus, the day asks you not to use caution as a parking lot for the problem. The real loss would be handing control back to the block and calling it prudence. Delaying now may look clean, but it gives more weight to the version of you that avoids. Move. Take the smallest piece that creates real movement, and do it before it turns back into theory. Come back here before you feed more oxygen to something that only survives your delay. Gemini. There is a narrow window for Gemini. If you wait too long, it turns into noise. This is not an opportunity sold as a miracle. It looks like work, choice, precision. Hold the scene tightly. In one concrete place, a living margin you need to use now loses its ambiguity. Mercury brings exchange into the home root's emotional base zone. If you hear only half the sentence, you risk deciding on reflex. The useful opening today has a concrete shape. A living margin you need to use now asks for presence, not fantasy. For Gemini, the day improves when you turn understanding into a readable decision. The stakes are not waking up tomorrow with the feeling that you saw the right point and showed up too late. Delaying today may look harmless, but it moves the real possibility from the field of choice into the field of clean regret. Move, lock in a reply, a time, or a practical gesture before doubt widens the corridor. Come back here when the day asks you to choose the cleanest opening. Cancer. Today, attraction only matters if it leaves your measure intact, not if it forces you to chase. Do not scatter your energy. Today's useful tension gathers around an emotional pact with no shape yet. Moon square Chiron. Today, the intimacy shared resources transformation field reacts immediately to anything that stays too vague. It is a line that could bring real closeness or buy you peace for a few hours. Desire does not need to be shut down here. It needs direction. An emotional pact with no shape yet is valuable only if it does not force you to betray yourself to keep it close. The stakes are simple. Do not let yourself be chosen just because you are afraid of not being seen. For Cancer, the day asks for tenderness with measure, not shapeless availability. If you chase reassurance, the heart may feel alive, but the choice gets poorer. Move, name what you feel with care, but do not give more presence than the other person can actually hold. Mark this before you confuse closeness and relief in the same scene. Leo. If desire asks for reassurance, slow down. Maybe it wants a choice. Today needs one simple line. What gets in, what stays out. What you refuse to carry any longer. Moon square Chiron. Today, the relationships agreements confrontation field becomes more useful when you stop looking for an elegant explanation. This is the point where someone lights you up, but the sky asks you not to hand them the whole wheel. Your emotional side becomes adult only if a distance that speaks louder than words does not steal your center while it lights you up. The risk is letting the thrill drive and finding out later that your dignity paid the price. For Leo, center today is protected not by making a scene, but by choosing cleanly. If a distance that speaks louder than words excites you but shrinks you, the bill arrives as your dignity. Move. If the contact is real, you can allow clean slowness. If it cannot hold, you will see it right away. Come back here before you let the need to be chosen matter more than your measure. Virgo. The uncomfortable truth does not arrive to hurt you. It arrives because the alibi is used up. The line in the sand is simple. Do not let a fear disguised as clarity decide while you pretend to choose. With Mercury active, the identity-body-presence axis becomes readable through messages, timing, and micro-responses. This is the scene where the problem is no longer the world around you, but the comfortable version you keep telling yourself. The useful truth does not humiliate you. It cuts the long route and leaves the real reason visible. The stakes are not letting an old defense run a new choice. For Virgo, the day improves when you stop using clarity as protection from action. The cost of the alibi is subtle. It protects you from discomfort and moves you away from choice. Move, name the point that stings, and build the boundary from that, not from the face you want to save. Send this to whoever needs to strip the voice out of an alibi before it becomes character. Libra. Do not miss a concrete opening in career. It looks small, but it can shift the day. The scene begins here. A concrete opening in career does not wait until you are comfortable to become important. With Venus in the foreground, the identity-body-presence axis is not neutral. What you like must also respect you. If you keep watching too long, the real possibility can lose weight, not because it was false, but because you did not choose its moment. This is a threshold that does not perform. You notice it because it asks for attention before it gives you comfort. For Libra, the day asks for real harmony, not elegant suspension of the problem. The risk is not a huge failure. It is letting the good margin slip away through too much respectable delay. If you do not give body to the real possibility, tomorrow you may remember it as a signal, not a choice. Move. If the signal is there, put it on the calendar, in a message, or into action. Do not leave it as an impression. Tomorrow will reward seeing the opening, not waiting for the perfect signal. Scorpio. Real care has a boundary today, not an excuse. The real margin shows up early. If an inner room that needs reordering does not enter the choice now, later it enters only as regret. Moon square Chiron. Inside the home root's emotional base zone, the sky asks for less interpretation and more form. This is an overcrowded inner room, where the right move is not to push harder, but to remove friction. Useful calm does not numb you. It puts an inner room that needs reordering into a shape you can actually hold. Today's real loss would be sacrificing good clarity to save emergencies that are not all yours. For Scorpio, strength is not confusing control with truth. If you keep forcing that need, the price can show up as the wrong tone, a reactive answer, or fatigue driving everything. Move. Leave one unnecessary noise out and give the lucid part more room. Come back here before you sacrifice a pause that keeps you clear. Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, control only works if it is not covering a simple fear. The signal doesn't shout. You see it in the way an alibi that has lost its elegance changes your posture, tone, or pace. Moon square Chiron. The words exchange's close environment field asks for a concrete reading. What changes? What stays? What must be decided? This is a small fracture between what you know and what you keep supporting, and today it shows more clearly than usual. The hidden side asks for less control and more naming today. An alibi that has lost its elegance does not want to stay a script. For Sagittarius, useful movement starts when you stop calling everything that asks for precision a chain. Today's real loss would be leaving clean on the outside and still being untrue on the inside. The loss is not feeling the uncomfortable point. It is spending another day defending the version of you that keeps you stuck. Move. Name the real reason before you choose the more comfortable strategy. Re-listen to this when the most composed version of you also seems the most convincing. Capricorn. Today you do not need to win the day. You need to get back a piece of breath. The threshold is low but real. One step toward an emotional refuge that needs realignment is enough to keep everything from running on reflex. With Saturn insisting on the home roots emotional base zone, the weak point should not be hidden. It needs strengthening or leaving alone. It might be a quieter room, a notification left outside, or a body that stops negotiating. Protecting energy today does not mean disappearing. It means stopping an emotional refuge that needs realignment from draining the right choice. For Capricorn, holding everything together is not enough if that need takes the wheel. If you keep treating recovery like an optional extra, the day can end with more presence lost than real results. If you keep forcing that rhythm, the price can show up as the wrong tone, a reactive answer, or fatigue driving everything. Move. Do less in the right place, so the important choice stays yours. Re-listen to this when you want to solve everything, instead of getting yourself back in line. Aquarius. If an attraction that asks for a choice stirs something in you, do not rush to give it an easy name. The personal stakes are closer than they look. An attraction that asks for a choice shows what you are allowing without naming it. Uranus moving through the desire, creativity, pleasure field opens a crack in routine, and that is where air gets in. This could warm you in a real way, or put you back into an old script if you enter without a boundary. For Aquarius, intuition matters today only when it touches ground and takes shape. This is not generic romance. That contact measures how well you can stay whole while something moves you. The stakes are about telling a connection that opens presence apart from a dynamic that feeds only on your reaction. The loss is not feeling too much. It is letting the need for an answer matter more than your clarity. Move. If the contact is real, you can allow clean slowness. You will see it right away. Come back here before you answer. For Pisces, recovery today is not escape. It is maintenance of clarity. The signal not to ignore is this: a crack that needs maintenance stays harmless only while you give it a shape. Moon square Chiron. In the words exchanges close environment field, the signal should not be inflated, but it should not be left without consequences either. The tired part is not sabotaging you. Inside a crack that needs maintenance, it is trying to stop the day from wearing you past your limit. This is a real pause, not a pause full of guilt and explanations. The risk is making it to evening functioning on the outside, while decisions are already empty on the inside. For Pisces, depth becomes strength when it accepts the boundary that makes it readable. The risk is postponing recovery until the body or heart has to speak louder. Move, drop one commitment, protect 1 hour, and answer only after you have breathed. Save this if today you need an adult permission not to spend your good margin where it is not needed.